Hey, how's everybody doing today? Well, I think a lot of people around this area of Zanesville, Ohio, apparently have shit for brains. And the reason why I say that is because the people around this area can somehow ignore extremely loud noise. Here, let me give you a sample. There you go. So that's just a small sample there. You hear some crickets, of course. They're about 50 feet from my house. There's a pond right back here behind the property. So there's a bunch of crickets and frogs and stuff that make a bunch of noise, but they're just right here. Now the other noise that you hear, the machinery and that loud uh, kind of harmonic ringing noise that sounds somewhat similar to a tornado siren or severe storm warning siren. Also, kind of sounds like if you've ever wet your finger and run it around the rim of a wine glass. It makes some of the similar pitches and tones that these businesses are putting out while they're operating their machinery and heavy equipment. Now, I'm pretty sure that the bulk of this noise, this disturbance of the peace, is coming from Casting Solutions out off Licking Road. There may be some other businesses in between that are making noise as well, operating machinery and equipment and so forth. But Casting Solutions is just shy, I think, of 4 miles. It's somewhere between 3 and 4 miles, a little over 3.5 miles, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, According to Google Maps, anyway. And yeah, and so their noise is louder than the crickets and the frogs and such that are right behind the house here. So over the past 4 years, as I've been dealing with this and attempting to get public servants to do their jobs and so forth, and to bring awareness to this, I've used words like bigots, um, idiots, incompetent, uh, retarded. I've used a lot of these types of words, and of course, a lot of these public servants and also people in the area, when they hear these words, because they're overly sensitive, they get triggered, and much like a social justice warrior, they get offended and voice their offense at the harsh words and criticism. But I see the thing that these people don't understand is the words that I'm using. I'm not calling them the words. I'm using the words to explain their actions. So this is what they fail to comprehend. Like Sergeant Patnod, when he is so incompetent and such a failure at his job that he can't even perform a simple investigation. Even when the evidence is staring him in the face, he still can't see it because he's so stupid. Um, so it's these actions that I'm referring to. It's these actions. See, the fact that he sat in the Stave Company parking lot, admitted that he heard the noise, but then acted like there was nothing he could do about it, or there was nothing that could be done about it, and didn't even follow through. Didn't bother doing a report. Didn't bother passing up the chain of command. Just blown it off like a typical idiot. And so it's that activity, it's that performance, if you will, or lack thereof, that I'm calling incompetent, that I'm calling retarded. And of course, these people with their simple minds, they think I'm just referring to them because I guess that's what how they live their lives. They're just used to being called petty names, and their actions aren't accountable, so they don't even consider what their actions are. But aside from that, see, I used to think it was the public servants that were the problem, and yet they are a problem. A bigger problem that I've identified is the people around this area, and anybody that can somehow ignore this all night long, or for most of the night, anyways, if not every hour of the night. It's for the most part around 11 or 12. It'll start up, maybe earlier, and then it'll just go all morning. It'll go all night and all morning until early morning hours, then sometimes on into like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, when a lot of these public servants are showing up downtown for work. They should be able to hear the noise because it echoes all through downtown. It echoes up near Walmart. It echoes up near North Point Drive and Home Depot and Lowe's parking lot. This noise that I'm referring to, just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, in case you're one of the idiots, that noise there can be heard all over the city. And it's very loud. And I can only imagine in some of these shitty little houses, they probably got horrible insulation. So the noise is probably even louder in their houses than it is in mine. Because even in the downstairs of this house, where it's all block and concrete, it has better soundproofing, smaller windows and so forth. But the noise still gets inside, still comes through the windows, still comes through the walls. And it's still disturbing inside the house, even downstairs with all the windows and doors shut. And as you hear in the recordings, that's from the upstairs. That's from my upstairs master bedroom. I set the microphone right next to the bed where my head would lay, inside the bedroom, not outside. But upstairs, I like to have the windows open because it's cooler upstairs and with the windows open, and then also the cool air makes its way downstairs at night, and so it keeps the downstairs cool all day. So this is how I prefer to set up the house. But unfortunately, whether I have the windows open or shut or whatever, this is all I get to hear. Apparently, the stupid people of Zanesville think that this is peace and quiet. I mean, it's laughable how oblivious people are. And I have to laugh because it's extremely concerning. If people can ignore that type of noise and act like it's not there, I mean, that's some serious mental health issues. Not the other way around. See, it's not a mental health issue because someone is disturbed by the noise. That's where a lot of these idiots don't even, they like, for crying out loud, they can't even think for themselves. They think that it's a mental health issue because somebody's disturbed by noise, when it's scientifically, medically proven that noise is disturbing, especially at night. That's why there's laws on the books. It's not just for, people that have pet peeves about noise. It's because noise exposure, especially noise like this, is extremely detrimental to health. When people are trying to sleep and they have to listen to this, it prevents the body from relaxing all the way and going into a deep REM cycle of sleep, in which the body needs to fall into for it to be able to start healing itself and the natural processes to take over. But maybe that's why the noise is present. Maybe that's why the noise is being allowed to exist and persist, is because of the harm that it's going to cause. Because after all, I mean, look at the last 2 years. It seems like they're more interested in harming people than helping people. Whether that was, malicious or the intention, I mean, that's debatable. But let's look at the facts. Forcing people to wear masks that didn't protect them. Forcing people to get injections that they admit don't protect them. Yet this is just another example. They ignore the problem and allow the harm to continue because they can profit off of it. Not only can the police department profit off of it, but the courts and the city and so on and so forth, with all these processes and procedures through the courts, all the bonds that are created. It creates a lot of revenue. And the sad part is a lot of my neighbors over the past couple of weeks have been fixing up their homes, putting new roofs on, new siding, cutting down trees, although I got one neighbor who cut down a tree like a week ago and didn't bother, I guess, paying the people to clean up the mess. So they just strewn all over the yard. Excuse me. You know, I guess people will pick it up for them eventually. You know, people that need firewood or something eventually will come along and cut it up and take it. But it just goes to show you, I mean, you can tell the type of people by the way that their house looks, how they keep up their house. People that don't have much self-respect don't really take good care of their properties. And you can tell not only by stuff like that, leaving tree debris all over the place, it's just a mess, it looks trashy, but also actual trash. Not bagging trash properly, not canning it properly, leaving trash debris that falls out of the can or out of the bags from the trash pickup, or from just leaving it out loose, leaving loose bags out and the birds getting into it, and animals getting into it, and you know, strewing it all over the place. And then they just leave it. Don't even bother to pick up. I mean, this is the type of people that I'm dealing with, that don't even have the decency, the self-respect to pick up the trash on their property. They live in trash and filth. And it's a mindset. It's a mindset. But what's funny to me is, so I've been complaining about this noise for the past 4 years. I've been dealing with this noise, been attempting to make people aware of it. You know, the fact that it's harmful and so forth, sharing information about the medical research and scientific research about the exposures and all this. And yet these people, instead of paying attention to the harm being caused in the neighborhood, in the community, they're fixing up their houses. And it's like, okay, it's kind of like putting fake tits on a pig or putting an expensive dress on a pig. Like, what's the point? I mean, I guess unless you're into that kind of thing, what's the point? And if you are into that kind of thing, you're such an overwhelming minority in the country that, I mean, that's just disgusting to even consider anyways. Putting fake tits on a pig. But that's what it's like with these people. They're like fake tits on a pig. Or an expensive dress on a pig. What's the point of putting all this money into your properties if you're not going to pay attention to the community in the neighborhood and the harm that's being caused? Because no matter what you do to the property and think that you're bringing up the property value, the excessive noise, the disturbance of the peace, the destruction of the peace and quiet and sanctity of the community and the neighborhood is going to bring down the property values. So the fact that you all are fixing up your houses and not even paying attention to the detrimental noise, it's more evidence, more proof of what I'm saying. You people are stupid. You can't see the forest for the trees. I mean, unless all of these people are planning on selling their properties and leaving town. But even still, why the hell wouldn't you, as a property owner, pay attention to the noise levels in the community, and especially in the neighborhood around the property that you are living in or on? It's just as loud at their properties as it is at mine. Yet they want to ignore this for some reason. Maybe it's they're brainwashed, they're so stupid that they think it's their civic duty. How in the hell can anybody think that this is normal? In the middle of the night, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, going for hours and hours and hours and hours. This is what people are forced to listen to. And you got people like Donald Mason playing fucking games with people's lives, acting like a fucking idiot, making up excuses about car crashes that he had and injuries that he sustained to his ears that causes him to hear shit. Well, maybe that's God's judgment on you, Donald. Did you ever think about that? Maybe God knew. Maybe our Creator knew that you're an idiot and you weren't going to do the right thing. So maybe you got judged before you even did the action. Did you ever think about that? Maybe that's why you had your accidents. Or, who knows, maybe because of your secret ties, somebody tried to take you out. I mean, it's not very common for people to be rear-ended twice. I think he said at the same intersection. I mean, I've been traveling around this city for 4 years now, and I have never been rear-ended. Yet this politician, this lying cunt politician, gets rear-ended twice, supposedly. I mean, I have a hard time believing that in the first place. I think he's lying, personally. But let's entertain that. Let's say he's telling the truth about the accidents. Like I said, it's one of two things. Either it's judgment on him for what he was going to do while he was in office, or what he wasn't going to do as far as doing his job. Yeah, see, the amazing thing after all of this I found out about Ohio, this is how backwards and stupid it is here. See, there's a thing called the mayor's court, and because of the home rule state or status of the state, the municipality, I guess, has sole jurisdiction over matters in the municipality. Well, at any given point in time, this joker, this fucking idiot, Donald Mason, could have had a hearing regarding the noise that he was aware of himself, that I've got email evidence of our conversations where he admitted it was a problem. He admitted and made promises as far as getting people to address the situation to get it fixed. My thinking, from my perspective, was to get it fixed so that it'd be quiet at night to address the noise problem. But I guess in the wording, when I go back and read the emails, maybe this is where his Esquire was kicking in, and he was using play on words. And so maybe, according to him, even though it seemed like to me by the way that he was saying it, that he was going to address the noise issue, it seems to me like it was more of he was going to address me. Like he thought I was the issue. Well, that's interesting. Someone who has a responsibility and an obligation to address noise issues, law violations in the municipality, around the municipality that are affecting the municipality. They don't even bother paying attention. In fact, depending on what day it is, I guess, depends on if they're going to acknowledge that there's even noise. Because some days they don't acknowledge it, some days that they do. And so it's just back and forth. It depends on who I talk to and depends on what day it is, or I guess where the moon is positioned in the sky or something, or whatever it is with these people. Maybe I'm catching them while they're on their period or something, and maybe that's why they're a little unhinged and agitated, and maybe that's why they don't want to do their jobs. Maybe that's why those incompetent dispatchers didn't want to do their jobs. Who knows? I mean, I could speculate all I want. I don't know, because they never really said why they refused to do their jobs. They just explained under oath that they refused to do their jobs. And they came up with this genius idea that it wasn't their responsibility, even though it was. But because there's no because there's no accountability, and because the people of Zanesville are, for the most part, idiots, not all, but an overwhelming majority, this is what most nights sound like. See, the daytime is actually mostly quieter than it is at night. See, it's backwards. It's backwards from normal places that I've been before, where they don't let this kind of shit go on. But for some reason, the fucking idiots here, Zanesville, Ohio, can't seem to pay attention for some reason. They can't seem to fathom this concept that loud noise at night is disturbing. It's called a disturbance of the peace. It's a violation of the law. But they don't care about it. Now here, let me explain a little bit further what the people of Zanesville have done. You know, I've kind of alluded to it. I've mentioned it, made comments about it in previous recordings, but I've never really broken it down. But let me explain it to you. This is what the people of Zanesville have done, especially these dumbass registered voters that serve on the juries in the courts. This is what these incompetent fucking idiots have done. They have set a precedent, that people not only are not going to get the should I dare I say privilege of peace and quiet at night, especially here in the area, but you all have allowed, if you're listening, if you're from the area, if you're in the area, you have allowed these public servants to not only not do their jobs, to ignore harmful noise at night, but also you have empowered them because you let them get away with stealing my property. You let them get away with not doing their jobs. You let them get away with practically turning a veteran's life upside down. Stealing a veteran's property, trying to kill a veteran multiple times over on his own property. All because I complained about this. Because the public servants of Zanesville and the people of Zanesville are too fucking stupid to pay the fuck attention. You know, I guess your fucking TVs didn't tell you to pay attention, right? I guess your fucking phones and your devices didn't tell you. I guess the internet didn't fucking tell you to pay attention, huh? Maybe that's why you guys are so fucking stupid, because you're not paying attention to reality. Your fucking brains are stuck in these goddamn devices. You don't know what to think unless TikTok fucking tells you. That's why you're fucking stupid. Because you get your information from TikTok. Because that's all you fucking pay attention to. Or who's got the shiniest, coolest fucking golf cart. I think it's fucking hilarious. These dumbass fucking people driving around their fucking golf carts. Oh, you're fucking cool. You got a stereo in your golf cart. Ooh, wow. Let me just fucking balk and say how cool that is. It's fucking stupid. That's all it is. It's a fucking popularity These people haven't fucking grown up past grade school. They're still playing on the fucking playgrounds of the school. Proverbially. Their minds haven't left that arena. How the hell they managed to fucking have a family and raise kids, I have no idea. But holy shit, that's probably why most of these kids are so fucked up, because look at the parents. The parents are so fucking stupid that they're too busy playing a popularity contest and playing fucking Joe Cool and ignoring reality, ignoring the harm being caused, ignoring the fucking treason right before their faces. Right in their fucking neighborhoods, right in their backyards. I just never thought that people could be so fucking stupid. I mean, I have my moments. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. But holy shit. I don't think I've ever experienced a large group like this of people this dumb. Maybe I just never realized that a majority of people are just fucking stupid. Maybe I was too optimistic. Maybe I was too willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Because typically when I interact with people, or especially with these people, for crying out loud, I mean, I don't know how they don't keep their brains from leaking out of their fucking ears. What's left of their brains. I mean, these people are fucking stupid. It's no wonder they can't pay attention because they're so stupid. But how in the hell? I mean, it doesn't take a genius to be woken up by this noise and say, what the hell is that noise? That shouldn't be there. It's supposed to be quiet. All I should hear is crickets and frogs and nature. It doesn't take a genius. I mean, even an idiot can realize that. So, I mean, these people are below that level. Because if even an idiot could realize that this is a problem, it's either they're that stupid or for some reason, for some odd fucking reason, they're turning a blind eye. They're ignoring it. Now, why would they do that? I mean, I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I'd be shocked if every one of these property owners is making a cut or getting a percentage or a kickback from these companies like Casting Solutions or the Stave Company for putting up with their noise. You know, are they just that stupid that they think it's their civic duty or their local pride or whatever they want to fucking call it that, you know, they put up with it? Because it promotes local business, right? By ignoring harmful activity, it promotes business in the area. Well, I mean, the same could be said about drug dealers too. If you don't care about the noise, what the fuck does it matter if drug dealers are selling drugs in the area? It's causing harm the same nonetheless. So, but see, that's what makes you all hypocrites. Is you want to hold these drug dealers to a higher standard, and they're just trying to make money. They're not looking to hurt people. People hurt themselves with the substances that they're selling, but these people that are selling the substances are just trying to make money. They're just trying to make ends meet. So that's focused on because, well, that's easy. The municipality and the county can make all kinds of money off of that, dragging these people through the courts, putting them in prison, jail, and everything else. Fines, court fees. See, it's a how should I say? Well, I mean, it just, like I said, it's proof and evidence of the hypocrisy. And what's even more funny to me is a lot of these neighbors actually do harder drugs. They hang out with drug dealers and shit. So, excuse me. Maybe that's why they don't give a shit, because they're already destroying themselves with hard drugs. They're condoning the activity. Their friends and their buddies and so forth either sell or deal or what have you, and so they're allowing that to happen already. So this is just another step in that direction, right? Who knows? But one of the neighbors over here just happens to be a public servant. If I remember correctly, I think he's employed by the police department. Go figure. So that could be another part of the control. Maybe, who knows, maybe there's threats being made. Oh, if you guys say anything about the noise, well, we'll come after you. We'll send code enforcement after you. We'll make your lives a living hell. Who knows? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. But it's probably not that direct. It's probably more tongue-in-cheek, more backwoods, inbred style. Where it's, you know, remarks made under the breath and that sort of thing. You know, kind of like the bigotry and Dukes of Hazzard, that sort of thing. You know, all that nepotism shit. Where the government, if you will, quote unquote, the municipal corporation is more corrupt than the criminals that they're dragging through the courts and stuff and such. But yeah, you tell me. You tell me what kind of fucking idiot doesn't want to pay attention, doesn't have anything to say about this. Yeah, there's a just tiny, tiny little bit of road noise, traffic noise. But that's not even bothersome because it's extremely fleeting. I mean, the jake braking does get out of control. I've mentioned that before, and you know they've admitted that too. The jake braking is against the law, but they don't ever do anything about that either. See, it's interesting how they pick and choose what law violations they want to address and what they don't. And it's interesting that the ones that they focus on are the ones they can make the most money off of. See how that works? The ones that they can create the most fines from, create the most performance or the higher performance bonds and release bonds from jail and such. Because you know these drug dealers, you know most of the guys that I talked to in the jail that were in there for drug charges had like multi-million-dollar bonds for their release. So minimum, they would have had to come up with $10,000 to $20,000 just to get released from jail because they were selling a product that someone else deems as harmful. Well, I deem the product that Casting Solutions is making as harmful. You know, maybe not the product itself, but the process of making that product is harmful. It's detrimental to the community. Same with the Stave Company. It's no different than, honestly, it's really no different than having meth labs in the neighborhood. Oh, it's a risk of it blowing up. Who cares? What difference does it make? They're destroying the fucking neighborhood anyways. Maybe that's why I heard that there are some meth labs in the area over here. Who knows? Maybe some of these public servants have investments in it. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that would explain a little bit more why these people are so fucked up in the head and why they can't do a simple job like a secretary. You know, because Kaylee Marie Hambrick and Stephanie Lynn Sheets and Kim Sue Brown can't do a basic job like a secretary. They think they're better than that. They're not public servants. They work for the city. Oh, wow. It just never ceases to amaze me. But the reason why these incompetent secretaries get to do or not do what they do is because the people of Zanesville allow it. The dumb fucking people of Zanesville allow it. They turn a blind eye. They condone it, in fact. When presented with facts, proving by the people's own admission, out of their fucking own mouths, they admit their own incompetence and their own dereliction. They solidify everything that I've said about them from the word jump by their testimony, and yet these fucking jury members can't pay attention to that. That's what makes you all bigots. That's what makes you all hypocrites, and that's what makes you fucking retarded. Because it's you fucking people that are doing this shit that are allowing the Bidens and the other families to do the shit that they're doing to perform these corrupt activities that are coming out. If half the shit is fucking true about the Biden family, he shouldn't even be in office, but yet there he is. Got all these people thinking Trump was going to save the day, and Trump wasn't going to bow down. Trump wasn't going to let treason win. Got all these fanatical fucking idiots salivating at what Trump's going to do next. Not even paying attention to the fact that their own fucking neighborhoods, their own communities are being destroyed. The court systems are being manipulated. People's lives are being destroyed by these public servants. Yet, the people of Zanesville can't seem to pay attention to that. All they can pay attention to is what the fucking TV tells them. Or what TikTok tells them, or what Facebook tells them, or what social media tells them. Not reality, not the truth, not noise that can be recorded and played back. That's not imaginary. Here we are 4 years later, still recording the same fucking noise that I've been recording the whole goddamn time. The noise that I primarily have been complaining about the entire fucking time to the city. Yet they want to act like it's non-existent. Yet here I can fucking record it almost every goddamn night. The only reason I don't put up more recordings is because I can't fucking afford all the goddamn memory to keep all of these recordings. I shouldn't have to, but yet here I am. Because of incompetent, derelict, retarded fucking public servants of Zanesville, Ohio, and the retarded, incompetent, hypocritical, bigoted people of Zanesville that allow it to go on. I don't even know why you fucking fly your American flags, well, I know why you fly your Trump flags, because you think he's going to come back and save the day. Because you lazy fucking people don't lift a finger. You're too fucking stupid and lazy and scared to do anything. You want somebody else to do it for you. I get it. You're a fucking coward. That's what makes you a fucking coward. Is the fact that you're too stupid, you're too lazy, you're too scared to fucking do anything about it. Maybe you think you just keep your head in the sand and just ignore it a little longer, it'll go away. Well, I hate to fucking tell you, it's only going to get worse. Until you stupid people fucking pay attention and wisen the fuck up, it's only going to get worse. Why do you think they're bringing the fucking mask shit back? Because the stupid people like you will fucking buy into it and put your mask on because you're a good little fucking slave. Because you can't think for yourself. You got to do what the fucking TV tells you. You got to do what social media tells you. You got to do what TikTok tells you. You got to listen to the CDC because you can't think for yourself. And even though they've said multiple times the mask isn't going to protect you from anything, it doesn't matter if you're wearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10. It doesn't protect you from anything. It actually causes you harm because it leads to lung disease, lung issues, infections from breathing in your own exhaust. Hey, isn't that funny? Then it just so happens to create flu-like symptoms. Wow, that's amazing how that works. So yeah, here we are around whatever this is, 2 or 3 or 4, something. I mean, the fact that these people are getting away with this, the fact that a large part of the population is going along with this shit, it just goes to show you how stupid people are. Or desperate. You know, some people wear the mask because they can't afford to lose their job or they live outside their means. And so they're scraping by, and so they have to be a good little slave to scrape by. But it's all of these things. It's all of these people doing what they're doing that's contributing to the problem. It's contributing to the downfall of society. I mean, think of it this way. I mean, yeah, there is some real inflation out there with what the government's doing, but you know what also causes inflation? How about dumbass fucking delivery drivers that can't do a simple delivery job, delivering food, overpriced food? So a meal at a fast food restaurant, take your pick, costs roughly $10 to $15. Well, nowadays with all this delivery shit and the convenience, a $10 to $15 meal is now $35 to $40 with all the fees and tips and extra taxes and extra fees and all this shit. And then, of course, it takes them fucking 45 minutes to an hour to drive 15 minutes across town. So the food's soggy and cold and nasty by the time it gets you anyway. So, I mean, that's part of inflation. Creating businesses that just cause things to cost more money, but really don't provide any true convenience. Because even though, granted, okay, yeah, it may be convenient not to have to leave my house and I can have food delivered, how real convenient is that when the food that's delivered is nasty, it's cold, it's old, soggy? It's just not worth it. And then on top of that, these fucking dumbass people, these dumbass delivery drivers, you're lucky, I'm lucky if they even fucking bring the whole goddamn order. I mean, this is how stupid people are. I had one delivery driver drop off an order, and part of the order was a gallon of sweet tea. A whole fucking gallon of sweet tea. And when the chick handed me the bag of food, I said, "Where's the sweet tea?" She said, "I didn't know there was sweet tea on the order. I didn't have access to the order." And as she's handing me the bag, I'm looking at her and I glance at the top of the bag and the fucking receipt, an itemized receipt with big, bold red letters says 1 gallon sweet tea is stapled to the bag on the outside. Right there in front of her face as she handed it to me, it's right there in front of her. It says 1 gallon sweet tea in big red lettering. And she's handing this to me and I see it. I look at it and I look at her as she's telling me she doesn't have access to the order. And I'm like, this is how fucking stupid these people are. This is probably why these fucking people don't pay attention at night or can't pay attention at night or won't pay attention at night because they're probably just too fucking stupid to realize that there's noise. Maybe they've done something to damage their hearing because of their stupidity to make it to where they don't hear it. But for some reason, they think that that's the standard because they have hearing issues and they can't hear the fucking noise that people with normal hearing that is disturbed by the noise is in the wrong somehow. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's sheer stupidity. I mean, like I said, the fact that anybody can sleep through this shit and not be bothered by it. Or even if they can sleep through it, let's say, for example, people get up in the middle of the night and take a piss. People wake up for various reasons. We got one neighbor that apparently is tormented by birds. So small chirping birds are disturbing, but this isn't. Think about that. Small chirping birds. Not very loud at all. Just chirp, 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 chirp. You know, some of them make a little bit more of a song than just a chirp. But typically the birds don't start chirping until the early morning hours, so like 5 a.m. roughly. So that's only in the very early morning hours that birds chirping, yet this fucking idiot complains about birds chirping. But apparently isn't bothered by this. I mean, I don't know about you, but that sounds a lot louder than birds chirping to me, especially when it's coming from 4 miles away, roughly. Just shy of 4 miles away. So you got tiny birds chirping and singing their songs that, for maybe an hour in the early morning time frame, from 5 to 6 or whatever until the sun comes up. But this goes on all night, and apparently they're not bothered by it. I mean, just think about that for a second. A bird chirping. A bird chirping isn't that loud, decibel level wise. Now, some birds can be loud, like parrots and shit like that. But I'm talking about like local wildlife, indigenous wildlife, or the wildlife that's in the area. Because there's some like finches and shit that people have let go. They're not indigenous here. They're pets that people have let go, and now they are wild. I see them in my yard all the time. They're not sparrows. They're tiny, tiny little birds. They're finches. So these people have a problem with birds chirping. They have a problem with music. I guess some of these neighbors don't like loud music. So it's like, okay. I get it. Music can be disturbing at times, but there's also times when, on my property, there's times when I want to listen to music. There's times when I'm working out in my garage, I like to turn on some music. It helps me work, helps me focus. But see, I'm not making it so loud that the music can be heard from almost 4 miles away. See, that's the difference. Or like my generator that I run. I have a gas generator that I run occasionally to charge batteries. And that thing, when it runs, is quieter than a lawnmower. Yet, I have a saved voicemail from these incompetent, retarded dispatchers telling me that my generator is a disturbance of the peace. The noise that my generator is making is a disturbance of the peace. When you can't even hear it from the fucking road out in front of my property, you almost can't even hear it. When I'm on the other side of my house from my garage, when the generator is running in the garage, I can't even hear it. When I'm inside my house, I can't even hear the generator running in my garage. But yet these fucking dumbass, incompetent public servants think that my generator is a disturbance of the peace. But for some reason, in their feeble little fucking retarded minds, they don't think this is. Coming from almost 4 miles away. That can be heard across the entire city. And hell, some of these neighbors that I have up on the hill across from me, the way that the houses are situated on the hill, they can actually see over the tree line. So they can actually look out when they hear this noise. They can see the steam plume from casting solutions. There's a huge steam plume that comes out of the middle of the plant. Every time I hear this noise, and I've gone out to their property, to the roadway or the easement, to investigate it, I hear that noise, in that recording, this noise here, I hear that noise extremely loud out there, and I look up and there's a steam plume shooting up from the center of the plant. And it reminds me of some type of like gigantic tea kettle, essentially. It reminds me of boiling water in a tea kettle. When it boils, it comes out of the spout, and it comes out of that little tiny nozzle in the flip top, and it causes the tea kettle to whistle. so you know that it's boiling. Well, it's a similar setup. The purpose is probably far from, the same, but nonetheless, it's a steam plume. It's steam being forced out of a small hole. Just like the steam being forced out of a tea kettle in the small hole on that flip top of the spout. So you have the combination of that plus the noise of the machinery running. You can hear the roar of the machinery in the background underneath the sound of that harmonic ringing noise. You can hear the buzz or the roar of it almost sounds like an electrical hum. In the background too. There's a lot of elements to it. But regardless, the point of the matter is, and the fact of the matter is that this should not be heard at all at night, period. For the most part, between the hours, let's say, just to be on the safe side, from the hours of 10 p.m., I think it should be earlier. And I think it is actually, according to the noise ordinance and some of the other local laws and state laws, I think they have it designated like 9 p.m., something like that, or it might vary a little bit from place to place. But generally 9, 10 p.m. until, say, around 7 a.m. It should be quiet. At least 6. It should be quiet. But with all the technology, we're in 2022 with all the technology we've got, and you mean to tell me that these people that work at this facility, this is a multi-million-dollar company. The products that they produce apparently brings in millions of dollars in revenue. Now, how much of that is profit and how much of it goes towards expenses, I couldn't tell you. I don't know what the profit margins are. But I have seen on Dun & Bradstreet and some other websites where they've reported decent profits. Again, I don't know if they're gross or net, but anyways, so they're making decent money. The least that they should do is invest some of that money back into the plant, especially with these sorts of setups where they're putting out so much noise that it's disturbing the entire community. Or, I guess I should say, it can be heard across the entire community. Disturbs the intelligent people in the community. But for what? What do they employ, 10 or 20 people? I think they make car parts for the most part, maybe some other parts too, but yeah, I just don't see the trade-off. I don't see the benefit of having a company like that locally that's going to destroy the community with their production noise at night, and not provide much benefit to the community. I guess to the government, the municipal government, they're probably collecting taxes from the company, so they're profiting. But I guess that would be an incentive to do what they did to me, to protect the company, because they want to protect that revenue stream, the tax income. So that would make more sense now, that it had nothing to do with right from wrong or upholding the laws that are established by the legislature for the state. No, what was more important was nepotism. Protecting their buddies, protecting the business owners in the area, protecting their revenue stream. So they ignored the Constitution. They ignored my rights. They ignored due process. They ignored all of their oaths of office and duties and obligations to do what they did to me. And the people of Zanesville, for the most part, have turned a blind eye. The people of my neighborhood don't fucking care. So, with all that being said, let me let you in on a little secret. For those of you that don't fucking care, it's only a matter of time before they find some reason to do the same to you. It may not be noise, it may be something else. I mean, at this point, they can pick whatever the hell they want. They can pick whatever they want to use to come after you. It's only a matter of time. Because it's a very slippery slope, let me put it that way. And I get it, some of you are stupid, so maybe you don't understand the analogy. You know, slippery slope, meaning it's really slippery, it's hard to get back up. Once you're on the slope, it's so slippery that typically you keep slipping down where you don't want to go. That's the concept. I know some people are probably just too stupid to realize that. But yeah, so it's clear. It's been more than clear to me. But to you all, who obviously are too stupid to comprehend what I'm saying, this is the proof. This is the evidence of your bigotry, of your stupidity, of your retardedness, of your dereliction, of your I already said incompetence. This is the proof of it. And what's extremely even more funny to me is that people like Troy Balderson are from here. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So, you know, I know some people like to play the game of Republican, Democrat, and all that nonsense and hoopla. But realistically, what difference does it make? They're both just as detrimental to the health and well-being of the country. It shouldn't be this or that. People shouldn't have to choose between this or that when neither this nor that actually helps the people. But there again, it shows you the stupidity. People begging the government to do something right, begging the government to hold themselves accountable. It'll never happen. That's what all these protests are. People don't want to do the right thing. People don't want to mature and figure out how to operate in the courts, how to file paperwork in the courts, and so forth. How to file a lawsuit, how to create the documentation and the paperwork, how to submit evidence. People don't want to learn all that kind of stuff. They want to go out and throw their cottage cheese asses in the air on top of a cop car and twerk, expecting someone else to do the mature thing. That's society. So I guess Zanesville, people of Zanesville aren't too far off. I mean, thankfully there aren't people twerking on the street corners and sitting on top of cop cars twerking and all that kind of shit, but it probably wouldn't take long or take much to get there. I mean, these people just aren't very bright. If they can ignore this, going all night long, very loud, invasive noise, pitches and tones that aren't typically present, and that are so loud that they penetrate through the walls of even block and concrete homes. and the noise echoes through the house. Excuse me. Yeah, I guess I'm just coming to the realization that it's not just the public servants. This has been a slow process for me of realizing just how stupid people in general are. I mean, it's no wonder people like Bill Gates openly talk about wanting to kill 10 to 15% of the population using vaccination programs. It's no wonder. It's probably because people like him are sick and tired of dealing with idiots. It's kind of like I kind of feel, what's the word? Empathy for the character. Oh damn it! It's in Despicable Me. The main, like the evil guy. I can't remember his name. The character's name in the movie. But I feel kind of like him having to deal with these retarded minions all the time that can't really hardly ever do anything right. They're so stupid sometimes that they're funny, but for the most part, they just fuck everything up. They're just an annoyance. That's kind of how it is dealing with most of the people nowadays, and just in general. It's kind of like dealing with minions. Very limited vocabulary, very limited thought process, not very intelligent at all. It can't even really communicate very well either. That's, I mean, most people nowadays can't even speak passable English, really. Most of the communication nowadays online is like fucking symbols and shit and emojis. They don't even fucking say anything anymore. They've devolved so much that they've devolved themselves out of spoken language. But yet they think they're being progressive. It just, oh, it never ceases to amaze me how fucking stupid people are. So I guess with all that being said, this this noise at night, if I can get this thing to work. So this was recorded last night, somewhere around, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. It's going all night. So this noise right here, that was recorded last night, which was early this morning, Monday, August 8th, 2022. It's proof and evidence that Kelly Jo Cottrell, Jay Vinsel, Mark Carl Flegel, Muskegon County Sheriff's Department, Zanesville, Ohio Police Department, the Zanesville, Ohio Municipal Corporation, Donald Mason, Doug Mary, the Public Safety Director, Tony Corey, the Zanesville Police Department Police Chief, and so many more. I have a list of about close to 40 names of people that committed crimes to hold me accountable for a mythical violation, all because they didn't want to do their jobs and they didn't want to follow their duties and obligations that they're required to. They had complete disregard for their oaths of office, if they even have an oath of office to begin with. Because most of these people I'm finding are not even constitutionally qualified to act in the position that they are. So they're actually impersonating an officer. Unless anybody can produce a copy of an administered oath that is the same oath that is required by, if I remember correctly, I think it's Article 6 of the Constitution. Don't quote me on that, but it's in the Constitution that it breaks down the specific oath, how it's supposed to be worded, how it's supposed to be administered, and so forth. And then even at a state level, the state requires these public servants to file their oaths of office, the copies of the oaths of office that were administered, that are signed. They're supposed to be filed with the clerk of court's office. Well, the clerk of court's office informed me that they don't have copies of any of that stuff. They don't keep any of that. So, if there's no evidence of the oath of office being filed at the clerk of court's office, then these people are imposters. They're impersonating an officer, and everything that they've done while in that position is now void. And these people should be arrested and thrown in jail and tried for their crimes, namely impersonating an officer, among others. Primarily extortion, racketeering, theft. I guess better way to say theft is grand larceny. Securities violations. The Securities and Exchange Commission probably be happy to hear about these sorts of things, because this is what they love to investigate, securities violations. Creating these bonds through the court systems fraudulently. That's securities violations. That's some real serious offenses with the federal government. But this is what you all, people of Zanesville, this is what you all are allowing. This is what you're condoning, whether you realize it or not. This is what you are setting the precedent for. Because the more communities like this, that this sort of thing can go on, where people ignore the reality and allow this sort of lawlessness to take place. Well, just think, the more communities that this can happen across Ohio, the faster that the entire state will be overran, and then nobody will have a leg to stand on. None of you will be able to do anything. Won't have any freedoms anymore, no liberties. I mean, it's comical to me that these people, and even I at one point, lie to myself and think by serving our country, by serving in the armed forces, that I'm protecting our freedoms and liberties and all this bullshit. But it wasn't until after I returned from deployments, realized that, well, wait a minute. We're losing liberties. We have less freedoms and liberties now than we did before we left. That's the opposite of the way it's supposed to work. We're supposed to maintain the freedoms and liberties that we have, at the least. Hold the line, so to speak. But that's not what's happening. The line is being slowly moved. The goalpost is being moved constantly in the wrong direction. We're losing our freedoms and liberties. And now, because the people of Zanesville are too fucking stupid to pay attention, I've had my gun stolen from me. I've had my ability to protect myself how I see fit taken from me. I've had my life threatened multiple times. I had these fucking tyrants try to kill me on my property. All because I wanted peace and quiet at night. All because I want to get some fucking peace and quiet sleep and not hear this. That's it. That's the only reason I fucking contacted the city, any of the departments of the city, the police department, the public safety department, the mayor's office, you name it. That's the only reason, for the most part, over the past 4 years. Now, there were a couple of other issues with vultures out here because dumbass fucking neighbors, again, it's these stupid fucking people, too goddamn stupid to fucking can their trash properly. They leave loose bags of trash in piles out in the yard. In their yard, of course. So then the fucking buzzards come along and the animals come along and they tear the bags open and they stretch the fucking trash all over the place. And then the trash blows into my yard, and then the buzzards are here. I gotta come out my door, and there's fucking hundreds of buzzards all over the fence line, on my roof, on my balcony, all over the place, trying to get at these people's fucking trash because they're too fucking stupid to clean it up, to can it properly. They lack the common sense and the ability to think for themselves, to realize that if I don't put out trash in bags that's easily accessible for the wildlife, maybe the wildlife will go away. Well, that's what happened. See, after I complained multiple times, the city, instead of telling these people to, educating these people, what the city did was went and got a bunch of dumpsters, the flip lid wheeled dumpsters, or the really large cans for trash pickup. They say City of Zanesville on the side of them, all nice and everything. I think I'm the only one in the neighborhood that doesn't have one because I bought my own privately. I didn't need them to tell me how to take care of my property to not cause a nuisance. But all the neighbors did because they were too fucking stupid to go buy a goddamn trash can big enough or put their trash in trash cans with lids properly to keep the wildlife out of it. So that was one other issue that I've had over the past 4 years was buzzards primarily because of the neighbors not putting their trash in the proper cans and such. But aside from that, an overwhelming majority of the complaints filed with the city was about the noise. And most specifically, this noise. Now, I don't know what the fuck these people like Donald Mason think that I'm talking about, or Doug Murray, or Tony Corey, or Jordan Blanton, or any of these fucking idiots. I don't know what the hell they think I'm talking about. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It's pretty self-evident for anybody that can hear this. That noise. The only thing that I should be hearing in this recording is crickets and frogs and the wildlife in the area, and maybe a tiny little bit of traffic noise, which isn't that problematic. Because the traffic noise, with the exception of the Jake brake, isn't that loud. And on top of that, it's not persistent. It doesn't hang around for hours on end. It's very fleeting, usually 3 to 5 seconds, and the traffic noise goes away. But this fucking noise, this harmonic ringing noise, there you can hear a little bit of traffic in the background. But then like that's machinery. You can hear a roar like it's like a piece of machinery on full tilt running at the highest idle. So apparently none of these fucking people could realize that this is the noise that I was talking about. The noise that can be recorded and played back. The noise that anybody with 2 God-given ears that work relatively okay should be able to hear and perceive. But apparently, either these people are just so fucking stupid and their ears are that damaged that they can't hear. And because they're so stupid and deaf that they don't know what the hell to do. Which seems a little absurd to me. So it seems to me that it's a little bit more along the lines of derelict. They're incompetent. It's an outright refusal. And as I stated, there's a motive. The tax revenue that the city makes from these businesses, and the county for that matter too, that's a motive. That's an incentive to break the law. To protect the company that's causing the harm in the community, that's destroyed my property, that's destroyed any peace and quiet at night for me for the past 4 years. That's why they chose to come at me, chose to attack me. Because it's more profitable for them. Because like I said, not only do they make the money from the tax revenue of the companies, but then also think about, the income taxes paid out by these dumbass employees that don't realize they don't need to pay income tax. Let's see, sales tax on the sales for the products that are bought and sold, the raw materials, the end products. There's all of this tax that's generated from the business. And then, of course, like I said, you get the revenue that's created through the court systems when these incompetent police officers create fraudulent charges and then drag somebody like me through the courts. There's extra revenue that's created and earned on top of the tax revenue from these businesses. So it's a win-win for the city. It's a win-win for the city, and on top of that, these dumbass fucking public servants from Zanesville and Muskingum County are too stupid to realize that they're destroying civilization for the most part, as we know it, for themselves too. Because it's only a matter of time. And see, think about it this way. This is how stupid people are. There's a reason why they're giving themselves immunity. Because as people like me begin to wisen up to the bullshit and to the games that they're fucking playing and the fraud that they're committing, they have to give themselves immunity, because when people like me become aware of the problem, people like me try to fix the problem. Try to bring the accountability so that way the problem will be fixed. Well, this is another, see, this is evidence of their crimes, because they're going that much further to try to give themselves immunity from their crimes. It's an admission of guilt. Why would they need immunity if they're not violating the law? And at what point, I mean, where's the line drawn? Well, obviously there is no line drawn, because most of these public servants can do whatever the fuck they want. Most of these public servants can murder people and get away with it. But unfortunately, you stupid people don't realize this. You stupid fucking people empower these people. You stupid people fucking condone this type of activity. Think that public servants are heroes, and of course they need immunity. Of course they need immunity. They don't need to be held accountable. That's how fucking stupid the people of Zanesville and Muskingum County are. Because they're eating that shit right up. They're fucking drinking that Kool-Aid, and they're eating that fucking Jell-O, and they're saying, yep, they need immunity. They don't need to be held accountable for their crimes. Yeah, it doesn't matter that they didn't do their job. It doesn't matter that they ignored their responsibilities and duties and obligations and allowed the situation to be used to their advantage, so that way they can profit. See, the people of Zanesville, the people of Muskingum County are accessories. Especially the people that served on the jury. They're accessories to the fraud. And you better fucking believe it, I got a list of their names too. And they will be getting claims as well. See, all of this noise that I'm recording, let me play it again for you, in case you didn't hear it, in case you weren't fucking paying attention so far. This noise that I recorded last night or early this morning, Monday, August 8th, 2022. This is proof, this is evidence of the fraud. Because this is the noise that I was complaining to the fucking incompetent dispatchers, these dumbass fucking women that can't do a simple job. They want to bitch and fucking moan and complain because they can't do a simple fucking job. And I'll say it again. If these dumbass fucking cunts would have just taken the 30 seconds to take the goddamn complaint and gone on about their fucking business, it wouldn't have been an issue. The only reason it became an issue, and I recorded the fucking conversation to prove it. But again, you people don't want to pay attention. They played fucking games on the phone. Like little fucking school kids. Laughing and joking in the background. Hanging up on me. Saying stupid shit like real lightly in the background. To where I could just faintly hear it. Where they're making jokes about me. Complaining about the fucking noise. Because I want peace and quiet. And then when I call back to get a supervisor to find out why the fuck these people are acting that way. Or they shouldn't be. Why these dumbass women can't do a simple fucking job. And why they're playing games on the phone. They consider that they consider that harassment and obstructing of official business. So they obstructed their own business. They prevented themselves from doing their jobs because they didn't do the fucking job that they were supposed to. But I got held accountable for that, not them. See how that works? So the people of Zanesville, these dumbass fucking jury members, allowed these cunt fucking dispatchers to get away with not doing their job. And they still got paid for it. How's that for equality? Well, who knows? I guess maybe these dispatchers are sucking the dicks of the men on the jury too. Maybe going down on the women also. Who knows? Because typically that's the only reason why people get where they're at is because they either suck good dick or put out. And from what I've witnessed in my lifetime, typically if women want something, all they gotta do is open their legs. Or flirt a little bit, or show a little bit of cleavage. They get their way. You know, like the females when I was serving in the Army. Would get the promotion waivers because they were fucking the senior enlisted. They didn't get it because they did a good job at their job. They got it because they did a good job at sucking dick. So they got the promotion waivers, but then the dumbass senior enlisted that got them the promotion waivers also got them pregnant. So after they got the promotion waivers, then they get shit back and they're not even useful anymore. And then they get out of the military on a medical discharge because they got pregnant in a combat zone. See how it works? But they get paid the same. Isn't it amazing? They don't lose pay. They don't get paid less. They actually get paid more because they get the promotions because they're fucking their way up the chain of command. So they get more money that way through promotions. But then also getting medical discharges from the military based on a pregnancy and things like that. Then they get paid for the rest of their lives because they had a child. They were irresponsible, got pregnant in theater in a combat zone, were deemed combat ineffective, had to be shipped back to the rear because of their irresponsibility and incompetence, and then were a further burden to the Army and to the country by getting a medical discharge and not having to do anything at that point. So they pretty much fucked their way through their service. Barely lifted a finger. But they still got paid the same. They still got the same awards that men like I did that actually did work, that actually went on missions, that actually lifted a finger. You know, a perfect example. This was the real eye-opener for me. When there's 4 females in a Humvee. Actually, I think maybe 5. There might have been 4 in the seats and then 1 gunner. Got 2 flat tires, 2 rear flat tires in her Humvee in a convoy. Not a single one of the fucking worthless females got out of the vehicle to change the tires. They had men get out of other vehicles in the convoy and come to their vehicle and change their tires for them. They were too scared to get out of their vehicle. Not to mention the fact that the gunner wasn't even in the turret, while the men were changing the tires. So, I mean, the least they could have done is pulled security, kept an eye on the area just to make sure that, no insurgents were going to come up and attack us while, we were in that vulnerable position. But they still got paid the same. And that was a lieutenant. There was a lieutenant in that vehicle too, a female. So it just goes to show you that all of this talk and all this rhetoric about equality is bullshit. It's nonsense. They don't want equality. Because they want the same pay, but they don't want to do the same work. And that's not just my opinion. You can go to BitChute, maybe even YouTube. There's a YouTube channel called Think Like a Cop. And there's a former police officer, if I remember correctly, I think he was a police officer from California. He lives in Texas now. And he breaks down videos, body-worn camera video and other surveillance video and CCTV video of interactions with police officers, shootings, and all kinds of different interactions and confrontations. And he breaks it down from a cop's perspective, what these cops are doing wrong, what they're doing right. And he's very brutal and honest about it. So, I mean, it would behoove you all to go take a look at something like that, because maybe it would shatter your dumbass perspective that these cops, these public servants, can do no wrong. Like they're fucking heroes and they need to be worshipped and bowed down to. You people that think that, you especially need to go watch those videos and watch the breakdown. How about the Uvalde school shooting? Most people don't even realize that was a colossal fucking disaster because of the response of the public servants. They fucking... I mean, I can't even use the analogy monkeys fucking a football because it wasn't even that put together. They were just a bunch of monkeys. I don't know what the hell they were fucking, but it definitely wasn't a football, and they weren't getting anything accomplished. I watched the video myself. I watched all the video footage of it. So you all need to get a fucking clue. Because this is why I've been posting this information, because I'm sure there's other people out there that are dealing with some of the similar shit that I'm dealing with. And they're scratching their heads thinking, how can people be so fucking stupid? Well, your guess is as good as mine, but it is what it is. People are. How they got to that point, I have no idea. I could speculate a lot, but I'm not going to. And I'm sure a lot of those speculations could be valid. But let's look at the facts. People are fucked in the head. People are allowing this kind of tyranny to go on right here in their backyards, right in their community. So next time you want to bitch about Biden, next time you want to bitch about taxes, next time you want to bitch about anything, why don't you think about the fact that you're so fucked up in the head you can't even realize that you're allowing your own neighborhood, your own community to be destroyed? Why don't you fucking think about that? And then when you're done thinking about that, think about it some more. And then look yourself in the mirror and fucking slap